You're listening to Nick Luck Daily. This edition is brought to you by Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis. By Total Performance Data, the global leader in live horse racing data. This edition is also brought to you by FitzDares, laying some of the world's largest sporting wagers since 1882. Hello, it is Wednesday the 29th of July, and under bright blue skies on what promises to be an amazing day, you join us once again here on the Nick Luck Daily podcast at Goodwood, glorious Goodwood, the Qatar Goodwood Festival. It's Sussex Stakes Day and Lee Mottershead is alongside. We will have a chat about Day 1 and Scandinavia and all that a little bit later, but I think, Lee, we've just got to welcome in a beautiful day and welcome in maybe the most exciting race of the entire season. That's how Billy Loughnane described it when I spoke to him for a piece in the Racing Post over the weekend. Now that's a big bar to reach, because the King George on Saturday was a monster renewal of that race, but I think this is a belting Sussex Stakes. The money has been put up, 1.5 million quid, the richest ever mile race staged in this country, and it has delivered. It has delivered not just in terms of quality, but in terms of quantity too. There are so many layers of interest. We've got another big rematch. The one yesterday didn't quite deliver the way we thought it might do. This one, we've got Boeco with Star taking on each other again, the 1-2 in the Guineas and St James's Palace. We've got Opera Ballo, potentially the best older horse in training, albeit he takes on a horse who beat him at Royal Ascot. And we've got that added interest of two horses who ran here yesterday turning out again. I know, which is extraordinary. Kirat and Lake Forest. And Lake Forest did his thing yesterday as well. So, in that sort of form, and with this sort of master plan from William Haggis, and we spoke to Kieran Fallon on the podcast yesterday, it's unlikely, but it's not completely inconceivable, particularly if there's a real burn-up. Yeah, totally. I mean, he won yesterday in spite of the way the race was run. Patrick Veach spoke to him afterwards. He was adamant that he wanted a stronger pace. He didn't get that. And in the end, he's actually won a 200 grand Group 2 pretty cosily. He wouldn't have had too hard a race. So assuming he's okay this morning, he'll turn out again under Kieran Fallon, who retains a ride on a horse. Of course, he won the Golden Eagle on him in Sydney a couple of years ago. He could have bought Wigan from what he earned that day. He earned a bit more yesterday. He wouldn't mind winning this. No, he won't mind winning this, but Boeco is a horse who I think has captured hearts and imaginations. It's going to be made as difficult for him today, I fancy, as it was at Ascot. You've got two Ballydoyle extras in there. I'm not going to call them pacemakers, but extras in Dorset and Puerto Rico to accompany Stade. Who knows what role they are going to play, but you can bet your bottom dollar that Boeco is not going to be allowed some sort of dream trip round the inside. Yeah, I mean, tactically, it's fascinating because you say we have got those two extra Ballydoyle runners. I think we can call Dorset a pacemaker in the sense that Puerto Rico is a horse who was a top-class 2-year-old, and if he happened to win this race today, you wouldn't say it was as surprising as Kirat winning it last year. Dorset doesn't have the ability to win a race like this, so you'd imagine he is in there to force a pace, which makes it all the more interesting. But if anything's going faster than Opera Ballo, they're going too fast. Well, that was my point, because going into this race, I would have said one of the great fascinations of it is that for two horses in particular, Opera Ballo and Boeco, this looks the ideal racecourse for me. I mean, Opera Ballo will love it. He'll love the turning mile, and you do turn a lot over a mile here. That is perfect for him, but it would have been more perfect if William Buick had been able to set an easy lead, provide his own pace into the race. Dorset might confuse that. I think Boeco, I think he'd been made for this place. He's got a sensational turn of foot. The way the St James's Palace panned out, he wasn't really able to utilise it properly. I think this place is better for him. So everything is set, Nick, for a tactical game of the highest level, and it's the highest quality mile I think we've seen here for quite a while. Well, we love this race. I'm sure Timeform loves this race as well. But how do they see it panning out? Here is their flat racing editor, David Johnson. So we've had the Eclipse and King George. The score currently 1 apiece between the older horses and the 3-year-olds. And now it's the turn of the minors, with the Sussex hopefully going to shed some light on a rather murky looking miling scene post Royal Ascot. For the older horses, we've got the Shot Queen Anne winner, 10 Bob Tony. Connections hoping he'll be able to reproduce that form, but he's reopposed by Opera Ballo, who was third that day. This track likely to suit him much better, even if he is going to face some pace opposition from the Ballydoyle horses up there as well. It'd be a surprise, I think, if they do come out on top, even if
Lake Forest adds to their battalion. He did well to win yesterday, but needs a career best here in this company as he attempts a rare feat. Only 10 horses have run in pattern races on consecutive days since 1995, and only one since 2009, which coincidentally was in the same two races, So Beloved, back in 2018. In our opinion, it's the form of the 3-year-olds that looks superior. Bo Echo with a Timeform figure of 137p, Stard on 130. Those ratings tell you firmly, in our opinion, that the Guineas is a stronger indicator of their relative merits than a rather messy, muddling St James's Palace. Stard definitely had the run of things that day, controversially let through the inside by his stablemate. Bo Echo forced wider, had to do it the hard way. His guts, his class getting him through as he just got there and just held on. We think the Guineas is a better indicator of what he can do, and hopefully he'll come out on top and show himself the preeminent miler that we really want to see. A fantastic Sussex Stakes in store, Bo Echo to come out on top.
All right, well, those are Timeform's thoughts, but there is an intriguing runner in this race who is coming back off a bit of an absence. At the beginning of this season, we were talking about him potentially as one of the leading 3-year-olds. He is Zavateri, and Eve Johnson-Horton joins me now. Eve, good morning. And what does it feel like to be a part of, I think, what's the most talked about mile race of this season and just about any other season?
I think it's really exciting. It's what racing's about, isn't it? Having the best horses that you can racing each other.
And this horse is coming off this absence, off this little injury hiccup. Just tell me about the last couple of months with him.
Yeah, so he had to have a little bit of box rest, not much, and then he was on the walker, and then we trotted him up the hill. We've got we live on top of a hill here, and trotting up that is the best way of getting them fit that I know. So he trotted up there for a week and got him rock hard fit. So I'm confident that he's absolutely at the top of his game.
So fitness isn't going to be an issue. What we don't really know is how he's now going to stack up against all the horses who've been grabbing the headlines while he's been on the sidelines. What have you made of the division as a whole?
I think it's very strong. I think Bo Echo has been immensely impressive. And Gestard, I mean, he's beaten us, we've beaten him, so I'd like to think we're about on a level, although maybe he's improved more than us. We don't know that.
I mean, is there anything in what you're seeing to think that you've made perfectly normal improvement from 2 to 3, irrespective of the fact that we haven't really seen much of him?
Oh, I think he definitely has improved from 2 to 3. I could not be happy with the horse.
What constitutes a pleasing result for you today?
First 4, I think we'd be really happy with, but, obviously we're going there to try and win.
And you could have taken more straightforward options, I suppose, as a reintroduction. Tell me a little bit about the way you kind of approached his comeback.
Well, the Aga Khan always used to say, once you won a Group 1, don't go backwards. So I'm just following his advice, really.
I like this. Lee Mottershead's alongside me. Lee, you've got to admire that.
You absolutely do. I mean, because you could even have gone yesterday in there. You could have done the double. You could have tried what William Haggis and Rafe Beckett do by going for both races. It's clearly a ballsy call to go for a red-hot Sussex.
Of course it is, but he's won a Group 1. We've got nothing to lose. He's going off to be a stallion at the end of this year, so we haven't got much more time with him, so why not just kick on and go for it?
Just one other thing from me, Eve. I'm a soppy old so-and-so, and down in the winners' enclosure after the Vintage Stakes, when Oliver Cole was talking to the media and getting quite emotional after winning his first group race in his own right, I saw you come across to him, sort of squeeze his arm and say, "I'm so proud of you, well done." You knew how much that meant to him, that win.
Yeah, a huge amount for him. It's huge for all of us, and especially getting your Group 1. And I know Ollie's had a bit of a torrid time. That horses haven't necessarily been hitting their marks and whatever. And he's just stuck in there and kept going and doing what he knows was right. And I'm really proud. I think it's great when these younger trainers get on and get on the ladder. I think it's so exciting.
Yeah, that was a terrific performance yesterday, wasn't it, from Dr. Rascal. Lee, do you have another question for Eve?
Well, I suppose the question would be, Eve, what do you think will happen today? Where do you think Zavateri will run? And if he happens to end up in the winners' enclosure, would that be, how much of a surprise would that be to you, or not at all?
I have absolute great faith in this horse. It wouldn't be, I mean, it would be a surprise, but it wouldn't be a surprise. It wouldn't be a shock. I think he should be placed. I'm fully expecting him to be placed. I think, you know, he's got a huge turn of foot. And he loves a battle. You know, he's won by a short head both times. He's, you know, the last twice he won, so he's not frightened to get in a battle. And yeah, I think of course it'll mean a huge amount to me and to the yard and everyone involved.
And Eve, what about Knight in Vegas, who runs tomorrow in the Richmond Stakes? He's a horse who showed real talent here and elsewhere earlier in the season. What did you make of the run at Royal Ascot?
Yeah, I thought he ran a really good race. Possibly felt maybe we should have been third. Just a couple of things didn't quite go his way, but you know, really pleased with him. Solid run. Give him a nice little freshen up. He's won at Goodwood before, and I think he'll win a huge race.
Fantastic. Can't wait to see you here today, Eve. Thanks so much for adding Zavateri to a race already rich with spice, and good luck.
Thanks a lot.
That is Eve Johnson-Horton. I think it's great that Zavateri's running, Lee. I really do.
Completely. I mean, and it would have been so easy to go for what looked on paper to be a pretty weak Lennox yesterday, albeit had last year's Sussex Stakes winner and Lake Forest. It wasn't the deepest Lennox. That would have been the easy thing to do. I wasn't actually aware of that Aga Khan adage.
Good
once
line,
once you've won a Group 1, don't go back. Yeah, and I think it's fantastic that Eve is taking that attitude. You know what as well, Nick? If she does happen to win this race, and like I say, Kirat won this race last year, so nothing really that happens today will be as surprising as that. If Zavateri wins a race, and he's a very, very good horse, if he does, I think there'll be just as many people in that winner's enclosure squeezing Eve's arm and saying well done as there were with Oliver Cole yesterday.
Talking of yesterday then, so Oliver Cole with Dr. Rascal, Kaya Fraser, big breakthrough win for him, super cool ride. I think this is a horse we've got to take seriously, and so does the Clock. And they could go just about anywhere with him. Champagne, Dewhurst, Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, there was the nice line from Oliver after the race where he said he'll be a talking horse now until the next time he runs. Now that was almost a bit downbeat, but actually I think with this horse they are absolutely entitled to be excited. That was a vintage stakes that brought to the mix an impressive winner of the Superlative Stakes horse who mightn't have won that race by far, but did it with a lot of authority. It brought together a Ballydor July Festival novice winner who looked like a really good horse that day, and in the end Dr. Rascal has beaten them both. I think you also have to be really praiseworthy of Kaya Fraser, not just because he won the race, but because of how he won the race. Now yes, he came away with a smack on the wrist from the stewards and a bit of a caution, but that was a brave. Well, I guess for going for a tight gap. But I remember when I used to
that
go.
Gap was perfectly legit.
Well, do you know, I used to ghost Richard Hughes' columns in the Post, and more than once when Richard was talking about a big race, and often talking about what made Ryan Moore so special, he said the key to winning a race is not being afraid to lose the race.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to take a risk. Kaya Fraser did that. Had he not done that, those celebrations wouldn't have happened.
Exactly. And Oliver Cole did say, we had him on this show yesterday,
yeah.
He said, I'm sticking with this guy because he's a cool customer and he doesn't get, he's good to talk to before the race, he's cool, he can think about the race, he's rational, he's level-headed, and he showed all of that in the saddle. So that was Dr. Rascal. We talked about Lake Forest, of course we haven't talked about Scandanavia, and the weirdest thing that happened yesterday was Hector Crouch kind of inexplicably sliding off the side of Amerloch as the gates opened. I think he said the horse jinked slightly to the left and hit the gate structure, and he unbalanced and came off. I don't suppose he'll want to replay it too many times.
Sure as hell he won't. No, it wasn't something that he'll put in his playbook, but things happen, mistakes get made, and with the best will in the world, I don't think Amerloch would have been winning that Goodwood Cup. I don't think any horse in training over that sort of trip would have been beating Scandanavia.
Would Yates or Kyprios have beaten Scandanavia yesterday? That's the more interesting question, isn't it?
What we had an interesting one there was that, you know, earlier in the year, was it after the eclipse, Aidan O'Brien reported what Ryan Moore had said, that this could be the best horse I've ever ridden. So after the race, Ryan was talking to the media and to Lydia on Racing TV, and I think he used lines along the lines of, you know, he could be as good as Kyprios. You know, when I spoke to MV Magnia after the race, he said Ryan got off and said he's probably better than Kyprios. So Ryan, through what MV says, believes that this horse is a better horse than Kyprios.
I think he's a little bit classier than Kyprios.
Yeah, I think he is. I think listen, they've tried in the past to drop 2-milers or connect to other people have with Stradivarius, try to drop them into the arc, and it takes a rare sort of horse, an Ardross sort of horse, for a stayer to knock on the door in an arc.
Weston was second, wasn't he?
Yeah, Weston was second.
Order of St George was third in an arc.
Yeah, I'm not sure
They run
Scandinavia.
Stradivarius in the bog twice and it didn't work.
Yeah, I'm not sure Scandinavia would necessarily knock on the door in the arc. I think stamina is absolutely his strong suit. If you looked at how they were going down the hill, there was a time when you just thought, look, Ryan's just niggling along here to keep up with Trawlerman, is in a bit of trouble. But then when he hit top gear, albeit after Trawlerman had been impeded by Amelot, he was just going further and further away. And even if you take out Trawlerman, look how far he's beaten the rest. I mean, he's beaten them by jumping distances. You know, you had a race where you had the winner was preceded by a loose horse. You had an unseat. It looked for all the world like a Midlands National in some ways, the way they were finishing. But actually, it was a Group 1 2-mile flat race. And I say, even if you take out what happened to Trawlerman, and I don't think at all he would have beaten Scandinavia, take him out, he's beaten some very good horses by an awfully long way. It was a top class performance.
Now, any day that Phil Cunningham wins, we all win. That's what somebody said to me yesterday.
Is that right? I think the Aga Khan line was better.
Do you like that? I mean, do you see the principle? You see the.
I do.
The principle of it.
I do.
They're here for a good time.
Yeah.
And they are enjoying every festival. Another winner yesterday with old Twilight Calls. Now, what are the chances that he's up and about and ready for day 2? Do you think?
I think you had better chances with Eve.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
And I'm going to give him a try.
Go on. I did just say off air that this is very much like Scylla on Surprise, Surprise, where she would ring someone unawares.
We have ideas. It's not just thrown together.
So this is, you've got to say this is Nick Lockett's the podcast here.
So I knew I should have done this last night. No, there we go. He's answered. Good morning, Phil. Oh my word. Now that I wasn't expecting.
Well.
You're looking well this morning, Phil.
Hello.
Hello, Phil. Can you hear me?
I can, Nick. How are you, sir? You well?
Yeah, I'm well. How did you sleep?
Yeah, good.
Excellent. And
Just getting up now.
yeah, I know you're looking very healthy this morning. I thought maybe I should have done this last night, but I don't know. You seem in good nick this morning.
Are we on telly?
We are on telly, yeah, the Nick Luck Daily podcast. Surprise, surprise.
No.
Oh, and there he went, Lee. And that was
Bad
it.
signal.
No, he's still
Bad
there.
signal.
No, I know where you are. It's all right. Don't worry about it. Twilight Calls yesterday. That was pretty special, wasn't it?
Yeah, amazing. I mean, rare for us. Obviously buying the horse out of the horse in training sales, and it didn't quite work for us at the start. But Richard changed a few things around. He's worked wonders, absolutely worked wonders this season. And hopefully all being well, he gets in on Saturday, he'll have another crack at the Stewards Cup.
Now, the Stewards Cup, you are now the Sprint Handicap Kings, you and Richard Spencer, and your bevy of jockeys. If he gets it, I'm guessing Safi will ride him again. How many are you gonna run, do you think, potentially on Saturday?
I would say, obviously, 2 tribes. He'll try to repeat last year. And well, it depends what else gets him. Run by run, I think he'll have a crack. So, all depending on how they all came out of yesterday, I'd say... probably the 3, I would think.
Okay, and Twilight Calls as well. And for you guys, these festivals, it seems that you're just really embracing not just having lots of runners, but celebrating the wins and enjoying the whole experience. I said to Lee, somebody said to me yesterday, when the Cunningham team win, we all seem to win.
Yeah, no, we enjoy it, and I think first and foremost for ourselves and for the team and everyone that's involved, and it's remarkable really that the support that it's gathered, and we're at the races now, and obviously from the exposure that we've had from yourself and people being very, very kind, it's lovely to see the support that we get from the general public, and I think with the fun names that we have as well, people get behind them, and it's lovely to see meeting all these lovely people.
And speaking of which, you've got Zigga Zig R, named after the famous Spice Girls song, of course, running your Super Sprint winner, running this afternoon in the Alice Keppel. Can she take the step up?
I don't know. Look, she's a real trier. I think, you're halfway there if you find a horse that tries like she does. A huge step up in class, and I think obviously she owes us nothing after the big payday she won at the Super Sprint, so she deserves to take her chance.
And a Hawksbill later on is a horse who's really well handicapped on his old form. I kind of quietly fancy him a little bit this afternoon.
I think he's our best chance of the day. I think Richard feels that he's got him right. It's been a bit of time coming. He's disappointed on a few occasions. So yeah, hopefully today's his day.
Phil, you're an absolute star. I ambushed Kieran Fallon buying a pastry in Greg's yesterday morning, and he got to the front of the queue and was so polite he went all the way around to the back of the queue again. Poor Oliver Cole was trying to have his office cleaned while I was talking to him, and I know it's perfectly early in the morning for you to be doing this, so I'm very appreciative. You could easily have just put the phone down, so thank you.
Look, you've caught me off guard, as you see, but just getting up now.
Now listen,
another day ahead.
I don't think anyone's going to mind too much if you don't. Thanks, Phil.
Cheers, thank you very much. Thanks.
You're a star. Cheers, Phil. Take care. Phil Cunningham. I mean, what a man.
Yeah.
If that had been you, would you have kept the camera off, or?
Well, if the phone rings at that time of morning, I'd probably be thinking, "Oh my God, what's happened?" But yes, I would have kept the camera off. Actually, the sunlight on the camera from my angle, from the phone from my angle, meant I couldn't really see much. Was that a blessing, or was
No. I mean, honestly, I feel actually the guilt is starting to seep out of every pore, to be honest.
You really do have to be careful with these calls.
I completely abused his goodwill there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to do a bit of grovelling later.
Yeah. I'd say you need to but I think you have with this new approach to content provision.
Yeah.
I think you do have to be careful when choosing your targets. I think at some point, Nick,
who would you not have tried that with?
Well, yeah, there's a long list, and you know the same sort of people. There, at some point, you will come undone. And I just hope I'm not the one stood next to you when that occurs.
You're coming down, don't worry about it. Right. We need to talk a little bit about the rest of today.
Yes.
And one or two horses that you like. I'll save your best bet till right at the end of the show.
Okay. Well, I think the Molecombe Stakes. Mm-hmm. It's never one of the most, I think, enthralling juvenile group races of the year, but I think it's a race issue that's got plenty of interest in it. The one that sometimes you see horses that you're very keen to win, not for punting purposes, and I would love to see analyse win.
Yes, for Rebecca Menzies.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Kaya Fraser again.
Absolutely. Way back when, Nick, when I was a young man. I'm in sort of 2/3 second stage middle age, but when I was much younger, 20 years ago, I rode in a charity race at Cheltenham, and my principal yard, if you like, for riding out was Ferdy Murphy's.
Yes.
And at that point, we had an amazing team there. We had Noel Hannity as Ferdy's assistant. We had Barry Murphy, who's training his own right now, doing really well in there too. We had PJ McDonald riding horses. We had obviously Graham Lee, a stable jockey who was superb, and we had Rebecca Menzies as Ferdy's secretary. An incredibly hard-working secretary who was always there, always delivering, always working all hours. And if at some point 20 years ago you'd said to me 20 years later Rebecca Menzies would not just be a trainer doing well, but a trainer doing really well, and she is incredibly shrewd, incredibly smart, and she deserves to have really good horses, and I hope what we see today is that she has a really good horse who could take her to a Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we might be in the middle of the Qatar glorious Goodwood Festival, but that is not going to stop us going around the Bloodstock world with our friends at Wetherbys. You'll know by now that Wetherbys' support of this segment of the podcast owes quite a lot to Nick Craven's personal connection to South Africa, a connection that I was able to tap into more meaningfully when part of the broadcast team for the Hollywood Bets Durban July at the beginning of this month. And the first two in that race were Note to Self and Wishlist, trained by Justin Snaith and in the co-ownership of Jonathan Bloch and Nancy Hossack, who are with me today, and delighted to welcome them both to the show because they both have a really interesting but contrasting background in the racing and breeding of thoroughbreds. Maybe, Nancy, I could start with you, and you could tell us how you and Jonathan found yourselves owning horses together.
It's actually a very good question, Nick, and I was discussing it with him the other day because we were trying to work out how we first knew each other, but I think I worked for Investec for a long time, and I think we actually had a personal connection there before I knew that he had sort of any connection to my family. And then I think, Jonathan, you knew my dad. I think I'll let him pop in here.
Yeah, I knew Nancy's dad, who was the absolute ultimate gentleman. And it's so beautiful to see that the apple has not, as the saying goes, fallen far from the tree. I never raced with Jack, but I sat on the local executive of the Jockey Club with him. And he was, as I say, the perfect gentleman, and a pleasure and a privilege to know. And when the opportunity came to race these two horses with Nancy, I grabbed it. I came in I'm very much the passenger. The hard work was done by Nancy, Jenna, Jono, and I just saw the gap and I took it. And they've been, Nancy and Jono in Wishlist have been the most amazing partners. And it's beautiful when these friendships just develop. And it's so nice when the second generation comes in with the passion and all those beautiful things. So it's really been the most beautiful story all round.
So, for those who don't know, Nancy, your father was Jack Mitchell, who was a towering figure in South Africa. Tell us a little bit more about him and his impact on thoroughbred racing.
Yeah, so I suppose my dad was kind of second generation racing family because my grandparents also owned horses, my grandmother and my grandfather. And so he was sort of always a bit involved in horse racing when I was a child, I suppose. And I was always a rider, so I was dressage rider my whole life. And I think it was just such a shared passion of the two of ours. And I think, with the two of us doing it together, it sort of gathered some steam over the years, I would say. And so we were lucky enough to have, really some really good horses. I think in that time we had Legislate, we had Futura, the two sides of these two horses. We had Do It Again, who was an incredible horse to us. So we just had a lot of racing luck. And I think it's such a wonderful thing to be able to kind of share with somebody. Actually, a friend of mine recently lost her dad, and she said to me, he really taught me a lot of things, but most importantly, he taught me how to have fun. And I thought, that kind of really rings true. It's something that you kind of shouldn't forget as a parent with all the parenting that you have to do. That's also really important to teach your kids that, and that he certainly taught me. And so I've been so lucky, post his passing, that I still race with many of the people that he raced with. Still have, some really amazing people in my life, and connections that I would never otherwise have if it wasn't for racing. So I think that, we we knew each other for quite a long time. I think had quite a lot of banter backwards and forwards in the canteen for many years. And when he sort of really came into racing, we bought these two horses at the sales. And he said, "Can I come in with you?" And I said to him, "With absolute pleasure." And it has been truly an absolute pleasure having him along for the ride. He is the easiest partner. Partnerships are not always easy in horse racing. And I think you learn a lot about somebody when you own a horse with them. And I can honestly say that it's been a huge joy having him along the road.
I guess, Jonathan, in some ways it was inevitable, because as a young man working your way through the ranks, you were exposed to so many people whose passion and life was horse racing, Graham Beck and Laurie Jaffe. When you were looking at them when you were younger, what were you thinking about their interest in horse racing? Did you think, "Oh, I'd like to be that," or did you think, "My God, what are these crazy people doing, spending all their millions on horses"?
Interesting question. I mean, I think I was just very blessed and very fortunate that when I finished university and I went into what was then the world of stockbroking, that I kind of connected with originally two amazing lawyers in Cape Town, Arnold Golombik and Abe Swirsky, and through them I met Beck and Jaffe and some just phenomenal people. And I was fortunate to do some work for them, but more important that they mentored me. And in your mid-20s, to be mentored by these people, and later by Nancy's dad. I mean, sitting and learning from Jack in these jockey club meetings and everything. I was a little pipsqueak, you know. Just the blessing of that was just unbelievable. And it's amazing. These guys gave of their time, of their wisdom, of their everything. And I couldn't afford horses in those days, and I know they gave me little pieces here and little pieces there, and just was the most unbelievable journey. And it's nice that how the wheel kind of turns, and I've got my son involved as well, who's an amazing young man, a little bit over enthusiastic at times, but we never want to take that enthusiasm away, because we want that next generation to be involved. It's so important. But beautiful that you can do it like Nancy did it with her dad. It's lovely that I can do it with young Zachary. So it's these are just beautiful journeys, beautiful stories, and to do it with people that you can enjoy it with. I love racing in partnership, and I love bringing new people into racing, Nick. I think some of my greatest moments are bringing new owners in and just seeing the fun they have in this game, and how the horse, like Nancy, I love the horse. I rode when I was little. When I was littler, I'm still little. And I think like Nancy, the horse always comes first. It's always about the horse. And just to see what these amazing animals can do in terms of bringing people together and the fun we have. And it's just brilliant.
And Nancy, that day, I don't know how you replicate that. First and second by two sires that your father raced as well in South Africa's or Africa's most prestigious horse race. Did you take it in on the day? Were you able to take it in on the day, or was it a bit of a blur?
I said to Jason, "What are you going to do for me next year? Like, how are you going to top this?" I don't know if that's possible. Nick, I think I stood staring at the screen completely in disbelief. I just remember John O'Snaith kind of walking up to me and grabbing me, and I just thought, did that really just happen? It really was very, very surreal. I think sometimes you also want to say, well, I think we've peaked. But you're never going to kind of replicate that type of day. I think it was very special for me because my dad won the race with other partners 3 times before, once with Legislate and twice with Do It Again. And in all of those instances, the horse was not actually in his colours, it was in the partner's colours. So to be able to kind of go to that great wall and put his colours on the wall was just such an emotional moment. I was saying to the guys that it was one of those days where I really, really missed him the most, very, very emotional. But at the same time, what do? We'll come back for the summer season and see this. We've still got 2 very young, very talented horses. I think that Note to Self is going to be interesting. I think he'll be like Futura, probably a bit more of a late maturer. Legislate was a little bit more of a precocious horse, actually. So let's see. I think he's going to have a nice break now, and I think he'll give a good showing of himself in the summer season. It's going to be exciting.
And Jonathan, just finally, it can be quite deceptive if you're lucky enough to be in my position and you're bouncing from country to country and going to lovely events, and sometimes it's not an accurate litmus test of how a nation's racing fortunes are going. But is it reasonable, from what I witnessed, to conjecture that racing in South Africa is in a better place, that there is a momentum and a bit of a vibe going again?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think, please God, you come out at the end of the year, beginning of next year, you come to the King's Plate, or you come to the Met, or you come to the Swiss Derby, which is going to be a phenomenal day. We've got Rolf and Gloria from Switzerland, who are 2 relatively new owners who are getting involved in a race day that is going to be beautiful. And some more is going to come out of the next couple of weeks, and special day end of February. But you come to Kenilworth, and I must say we've got to take hats off to Greg Bortz, Owen Heffer, Hollywood Bets, because they really have come to the party from the Cape perspective, from the Natal perspective, and obviously to Mary Oppenheimer, Mary Slack, who is honestly for racing up north in the Transvaal has kind of helped out drastically. So yes, racing in South Africa, I think, is in a really good place. There are things happening in terms of opening up the exports, so hopefully that'll help. We're getting a lot of international owners here now that are spending a lot more time. And if you look at what's happening in South Africa with immigration to SA, out of the UK, out of various parts of the world, I look at a number of my partnerships where I've got so many overseas owners racing with us now. And hopefully when you come racing with us to Cape Town, we've got the Investec suite, and right next to us, we've got Nancy and the Snaith suite. And we just have the most wonderful time, win, lose, or draw. Nancy has from time to time been seen to drink a little bit too much tequila, but we're not going to discuss that on this time. But we do have proper fun. And as I say, please God, here is your open invitation to come and have fun with us.
Well, I've never been known to turn down such an invitation in the past, so I'm not going to start now. Jonathan, thank you very much. Nancy, thank you. Congratulations both again. And we look forward to speaking to you soon.
Keep a tequila on ice for you. Look forward to it.
Well, thanks to all our friends in South Africa, and thanks to Wetherbys for their support as well. Really enjoyed that. Now, sales season in earnest is coming round fast, and of course the publication of the Goffs Orby sale catalogue will give indication of that. And Goffs Group Chief Executive Henry Beeby joins me now from Kildare. Good morning from Goodwood, Henry. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thanks, Nick. How are you?
Yeah, good form. Thank you very much. And the arrival of an Orby catalogue, I'd imagine for anybody in your company, is quite an exciting day every year.
It's very exciting because it's the highlight of our year. It's our most high-profile sale. It's our biggest earner. It is the Irish National Yearling Sale. It is one of Europe's premier yearling sales. We're always excited, but we're especially excited this year because we've been given some beautiful, beautiful yearlings to sell.
In your time at Goffs, how would you assess the evolution of this sale? Where's it come from and where's it going to?
Well, it's always been important. It's important to us, but it's important to Irish breeders because it is the Irish National Yearling Sale. It does set the benchmark every year, but it evolves year after year. And our goal, our objective, our aim every year is to persuade more leading Irish vendors to sell more of their best, a bigger share of their best yearlings in the Orby sale. We recognise this competition. We recognise people want to spread their risk, spread their best, but we like to try and get a bigger share of the best yearlings, and we really think we've done that again this year, taken another big step forward.
What are the most notable aspects of the catalogue, do you think?
Well, in terms of highlights, Mini Hawk, the quadruple Oaks winner last year, Arc second, top class racehorse, was our sale topper 2 years ago, made $1,850,000. We have the half sister by Justify. She is supermodel gorgeous. I've seen her. She's to die for. She's beautiful. We've a quartet of Frankels, one out of Lawrence, one out of Lati Dar. Beautiful horses. We've Dubawis, we've Lopa de Vegas. We have some absolutely mouth-watering pedigrees. We've 22 siblings to Group 1 winners. We've plenty out of Group 1 winners. We've another 46 siblings to Group 2 and Group 3 winners. We've all the major sires from around the world included. And this is a superb, concise 2-day catalogue, Orby 1, followed by another concise 2-day catalogue of Orby 2.
Henry, thank you so much. Looking forward to it very much.
Can't wait. Enjoy your day.
Thanks so much. Henry Beeby, the Goffs Group Chief Executive there, talking to us about the Orby sale. And Lee, it's time for us to say farewell from morning 2 of Goodwood with a bet from you.
Yeah, bet from me is, I think I might be slightly burnt after this, Nick. It is
it was not a good day to wear a pale blue shirt. I'm telling you that now. I've got that all wrong.
We're roasting in the paddock
in a linen suit.
In a very smart you look too. Tip-wise, I'm going to go in the 3 o'clock race, the Oak Tree Stakes.
Yes.
Remember I said earlier on that one of Rich Hughes and Ryan Moore's lines had always been, when you're trying to win, don't be afraid to lose.
Yeah.
I think that adage could be very applicable to Sayeeda Dariar in that race, which combines Richard Hughes and Ryan Moore. She's a filly who I can't get out of my head how impressive she was when she won the Summer Stakes at York last year. Hughesy holds her in the highest regard, ran her in the Jubilee at Royal Ascot. Didn't quite happen for there, but she didn't run a bad race. The Oak Tree, it's not a sensational race for the level for the Group 3. I think she has Flora of Bermuda to beat, but I just suspect that this track over this distance could be absolutely made for. I think it will be a sweaty palms watch, because I don't believe that Ryan Moore is going to be looking for lots of daylight to the race. I think he'll want plenty of cover on her and then find a gap. So I think it could aid just watching her, but I still think she's worth the risk. So for me, Saida Daria.
If your palms are the only thing that are sweaty this afternoon, you'll have escaped lightly. And on that lovely note, we will leave you. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have been watching on YouTube, or indeed listening wherever you consume your daily podcast, with you on YouTube and across all your normal platforms every day this week. And why not? Because where else would you want to be on a morning like this than Goodwood? Thanks so much. Bye for now.
You've been listening to Nick Luck Daily. Thanks for listening. This edition has been brought to you by Timeform, your trusted source for racing data and analysis, by Total Performance Data, the global leader in live horse racing data, and by FitzDares, laying some of the world's largest sporting wagers since 1882.